All right, so welcome everybody to your weekly STI English training. My name is Coach Nathan. I'm a Gold Director from the United States of America. So welcome everybody in from wherever you're calling in from. Today we're going to be talking more about the coffee shop interview and what it looks like to really have meaningful conversations with people as you're going about your life, and how to take these meaningful conversations and really build relationships with people, build connections with people, and turn that into business as well moving forward. You know, as a network marketing professional, right, which we're all on the path to becoming, being a good conversationalist, being someone who's able to really build connections, build relationships, strong bonds with people is probably the most essential skill that you're going to develop. Leadership really is all about building relationships with people as well, right? So Eric Worre, all of the different gurus, right? They will explain that this is a relationship business. Right? And the same way that you build relationships with people in your life, you want to be doing the same things in your business as well, right? So for those of you who were on the call last week, remember, right, there were 4 elements of having really effective conversations. The first element is being related. The second element was creating a possibility. The third element was having the possibility that you created with someone feel like an opportunity to them, right? So, and then the last one was a conversation for action, right? So if you're going to be in a conversation with someone where you're asking them to take an action of some kind, right? You guys have all heard a call to action, right? That's at the end of the presentation process. When you say to someone, would you like to get started, right? That's a call to action. Anytime you request or ask someone to do something, it's a call to action. And if you don't have the opportunity, the possibility, and the relatedness already in the present, or already in the conversation, that's when conversations for action can feel like sales, or feel like you're pushing people, or you're trying to get them to do something, or you're attached to them joining your business, or you're something like that, right? Anytime that feeling is there for you or for the other person, it just means that those elements were not present in the conversation. So part of the reason why the network marketing industry, or MLM, whatever you want to call it, over time has gotten, let's say, a little bit of a bad rap, is because you have a whole culture of people for a long time that were having conversations for action without having the relatedness and the possibility and the opportunity really present for the other person. So anytime you ask somebody to do something, but they're not inspired by what it is that you're talking about, they're going to feel like you're like trying to get them to do something. And the best way that you become great as a leader, great in sales, great in business building, is to not have it feel like it's sales. Right? That's why it's very important that you develop this skill, because you'll be able to have these conversations with people naturally all the time, and they'll want to work with you. They'll want to join the team. They'll want to be part of your opportunity, because they like their interaction with you, right? They're inspired by your conversations. You guys with me so far?
Yes.
So everybody that's on this call, I happen to know Shirley, Fiscal, Deep, Dan, Rugen. I know that you guys are all doing your own presentations. Okay, so what my request is, you know, after the conversation that we had last week, and then after the conversation that we're going to have today, where it's really about that moment when you're in a conversation with someone. Okay, I want you to take these skills and start practicing them when you're doing your discovery calls, when you're doing your presentations. Okay, I promise you, if you're doing a lot of action but you're not getting a lot of results, I promise you the answer is in here. It's because the relatedness is missing. Okay, the person is not present to a new possibility, or they're not present to that this is an opportunity for them. Okay, so keep that in mind, right? This is really a superpower, is being able to have really engaging, connected conversations with people. And that's why the coffee shop interview is really a transformation in your relationships. And the transformation in your business will come when you have a transformation in the ability to have meaningful conversations. Okay, all of you know that have worked with me, doing coaching and things like that, right? I promise one of the things that may have surprised you in the beginning is how deeply we go quickly. Right? I'm going to ask you about things that probably other people don't ask you about. And that's how the deep conversation or the deep relationship gets built. Okay? So today we're going to talk about the art and the science of how to build deep, meaningful relationships, and how that can translate into really growing a big business. Okay, so let's get into what it actually looks like to have a really effective discovery call, or what we're going to call a coffee shop interview. Okay, so in the conversation that you're having with people, okay, the goal is to find out as much about the other person as you can. And at the same time, have them feel understood and acknowledged or affirmed. Have them feel important. Have them feel special, right? Like you really care about them. That's the goal, is to find out as much about them and have them feel important. Okay, and you can only do that without having your own personal agenda in the background. Do you know what I mean by that, Shirley? By a personal agenda?
Yeah, with personal agenda.
Yeah, so if I'm having a conversation with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really want you to do something else. It means that the conversation that we're having is actually kind of fake. Because my real intention is like something else, right? So when I say the goal is to find out as much, as if I'm talking to you, my goal is to find out as much about you as I can and to make you feel important. Without any agenda, it means I don't have an ulterior motive in the conversation. I'm right there in the conversation with you, and my only focus is the conversation that I'm having with you and to learn more about you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like being on a first date with somebody. Whether you're going out with a guy or a gal, your goal is to really learn as much as you can about the other person. So you can figure out, is this a relationship that I would like to pursue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's very important when you're in this part of the conversation that you're not talking about your product or your service. Okay? And even if somebody asks you, what do you do?
Oh.
Okay, sometimes we'll because we're so well trained, we'll go right into like, boom, let me tell you everything about what I'm doing, and all of a sudden now we've like taken over the conversation and we're sharing all about us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's what I do, and this is what I do, and Dr. Wentz and the athletes, and it's like, whoa, all of a sudden we're doing all the talking. Okay, if someone asks you about what you do, you can share with them. I run an international nutrition company.
Okay.
And then turn it back on them. Just go right back. Is nutrition something that is important to you? What do you do? What do you do to keep your health really on track? So even if they ask you, share a little bit, give them a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a taste, and then as soon as you can, get back to them, right? Because the goal is really to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you with me so far?
Yeah. But Nathan, I want to ask you, how about if the people that I what is that? I have conversation with, and she or he don't think about the health is important or something like that. Um, what should I do next? Am I like she's not worry and she's not care about her body,
Uh-huh.
and when I like talking, oh yeah, if I am maybe like this and this, but yeah, she cannot relate because her attention is not in that side. So what should I do next?
Okay, so we're gonna go through some information, and it'll kind of go over that. But the goal is just to ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
because underneath of it all, we all want to be healthy.
Okay.
Okay. Now, have you ever been in a place in your life when you didn't care about your body and your health very much?
Yeah, I ever.
Yeah. So that's a great place to start. We'll talk about this in a minute, but the best way to get people to open up is to what we call tell one on yourself, which means share something vulnerable about yourself at a time in your life when maybe you weren't at your best. Right? So you can
Okay.
actually say, I totally get it. you know even just a year ago, I was, maybe, a lot more overweight. I was eating goreng all the time. I was eating, really inflammatory foods. I was eating sugar all the time. Deep has a really powerful story in her life. Before we got involved in USANA, Deep, not just Deep, also me. We used to drink Coke and eat ice cream and, just do things that without us knowing it were causing a lot of inflammation in our bodies. And Deep actually almost went blind. She had serious inflammation in her eyes. It's because we just didn't understand at that time. Right?
Uh-huh.
So if someone shares that that's their experience, you can share, oh, I was like that too. And here's the impact, right? Deep can actually share, oh, I was like that. I used to eat sugar all the time. I used to have, she shares, people used to bring cakes into the school. She was a teacher at that time, all the time, and they would eat cakes and do all that, right? And the impact was, in the moment, maybe it didn't have a big impact, but in the long term, it had a huge impact.
Yeah.
So just relate to what they're saying, and then share something personal.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it. Okay. Thanks,
Okay, so
Nathan.
oh, you're welcome, and thanks for the question. It's good to bring what we're talking about today actually into real life and your experience. That's how it'll make more sense. So when it comes to getting ready for the interview, okay, it's very important that you practice these steps. Right? Being fully present, no distractions. Okay, even right now, right? I'm leading this presentation and I can see all of you, right? So what do you think my experience is if you guys are on your phones or you're doing other things, or I see your eyes going back and forth and you're not really paying attention to what I'm saying? What do you think my experience is like?
Frustrated. You're trying to put your best effort to train us and we're not being present. Annoyance.
Yeah.
I don't know. Helplessness. I doubt, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it could make people feel like you're not important or they're not important, right? If they're talking and you're like, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, amazing. and you're doing something else, they may not even know that they're having this conversation with themselves, but they're going to have the experience that right now they're not very important to you. What they're saying is not really that important to you. Right? So when you're having conversations with people, be fully present, meaning you're right here with them. No distractions. Okay, and your goal is to make the other person feel relaxed. So don't be on your phone, don't be on your computer, don't be distracted by technology, right? Be in a place, for example, okay, where it's quiet, you have good internet connection, right? If you're online, obviously if you're in person, then be somewhere that's not loud, where you can talk to the person, you can be present with them. There's not a lot of distractions going on. Okay? The best thing to do is just have it be you and something that you can write with, right? So you can actually take notes about what the person's saying. Any of you who have done these discovery calls with me, you'll know that when I'm talking to someone, I'm always just writing down the highlights of what they're saying. So after they're finished, I can actually give like a 1 or 2 minute summary of like the person's whole life. And so much of the time, people are like blown away. They're like, wow, you got all of that out of this conversation. It's like, yeah, I was listening. And when you listen to people, what you're saying without saying anything is that you matter to me. I'm not here with you because I'm trying to get something out of you. I'm here because I care. And if people, have you ever heard the saying that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care? That's what makes the biggest difference. If people feel like you care about them, they're going to want to work with you. It changes the dynamic. Okay? So just have a notebook that you can jot down notes during the conversation. All right, now let's get into the mindset, because this part's really important, okay? Don't ever go into a discovery call or a presentation or one of these coffee shop interviews without kind of like checking in with yourself, clearing yourself, right? Don't come into the conversation after you've just had a fight with your partner, or you just got out of you were just in machit, right? And you want to make sure that your energy is good. Okay? So your energy and your approach to these conversations are critical. If you are being fake, like we were saying before, if the person can get a little smell or have the feeling that you're not being genuine in the conversation and that you really have another agenda, they're going to be able to sense it. And they're going to want to pull away. You can feel people like wanting to leave the conversation. Okay? Anytime you have that experience, you gotta stop what you're doing and get connected again. Because sometimes actually things will be going well, and maybe you'll go into a conversation that will make people feel a little bit uncomfortable or whatever. So you gotta stop and get the relatedness back in the conversation. So when you become really sensitive to the energy that's happening, if relatedness can be there in a conversation and then go out in a conversation because the other person has an insecurity or something. So you have to be skilled in knowing when it's there, you can stop and then you can create the connection again. And I'll get into this in a moment, but the easiest way to create connection with someone is to tell them something that's maybe not flattering or that's vulnerable about yourself. Okay? So, the 6 principles of getting the most out of your interviews. Okay? These are all very important. Number 1, the other person is the center of the universe. You want to make them feel like you are the center of their universe right now in this moment. Okay, everything revolves around them. So much of the time, I can't tell you how often I see this. You get into a conversation with someone, or we get into one of these presentations, And it's supposed the point of the conversation is to try to really get to know the other person and find out if they're a good fit. But then one person does all the talking. They're like talking at the person instead of being in a conversation. And when that happens, if you're doing all the talking, it means that it's actually all about you in that moment. It's not about them. If you've ever seen a really great interviewer, most of the time they say very little in the interview. All they're doing is they're asking the right questions to get the other person to keep telling them everything about them. I heard Eric Worre joke about this one time, but he said he was on a plane ride with somebody from like the east to the west coast of the U.S. And while he was on the plane ride, he sat next to a woman. And even though he's an introverted person and he doesn't like love talking to people all the time, he makes it a habit or a practice of talking to people. And he said that while he was on the plane ride, he literally said like 5 or 6 words the whole time. He just asked the person a question and they talk. And then he asked them a question, talk. And then he asked them a question, talk. And the other person was talking like the whole time. And he said the funniest thing happened. At the end of the plane ride, the woman stopped and she said to I think it was her partner or somebody, the person that she was traveling with, she said to the other person, "Man, this guy is like one of the most interesting people I've ever met." Right? And of course that's funny because Eric didn't say anything about himself. So the point of that story is that if you what makes you interesting is by being interested in other people, right? When you let them talk, people's favorite topic is themselves. So when you let other people talk about themselves and share about themselves and be open, okay, they're going to be really interested in you. Because most people don't do that in life. Most people, they want to get whatever information they want to get out of you so that they can do what they want to do. And that's how most of us go about our life. Our conversations are one series of just transactional conversations. Like, hi, I need this done. Can you do that? Yes, no, okay, goodbye, boom. And we go through life like that. When's the last time someone sat down and really asked you, what do you like doing in life? What's your favorite color? What's really important to you? Unfortunately in our lives, we don't do a lot of that. Right? So if you're the person who is asking someone these really meaningful questions, and maybe it's the first time in a year, 2 years, 5 years that anybody has really been willing to ask them those questions, you will stand out in that person's mind. That you will stand out more than anyone else. That's how you separate yourself from people. And I promise you, maybe you don't know someone really well, but on the third conversation, if you're like, "Hey Janet, it's really great to see you again. I hope Tommy and Tristan, maybe they're kids, right? You know their kids' names, you know their dog's name, you know that they like to run in the morning." If you know this information, like, "Hey, did you get a chance to do your run this morning? How's old Blue Eyes, the dog?" And you know this information and you're sharing with them, people do not take that for granted. They're like, "Wow, this person is amazing." Okay, and you do that by principle number 2, paying attention to other people's lives. Okay, principle number 3, be interested, not interesting. Okay, that's Eric Worre's story. You want to be fascinating to people? Just pay attention to them. Focus on what's in it for them. Okay, you guys got to know that people's favorite radio station is What's in It for Me. Okay, that's where they're listening from. So you gotta also be listening to what's in it for you, what's in it for them, what's in it for them. Not what's in it for me. How do I get this information and turn it on them? Okay, you're listening from a different place as a person. And as a general rule, right, the fifth principle is that if you contribute to other people's lives, more will be given to you. Maybe you guys have heard of servant leadership, right? Leaders that serve their people. Okay? You know the quality of the person when they think that leadership means that you're the person at the top and people should serve you like a king or a queen. Versus a leader who serves their community. They put themselves at the bottom of the pole and they serve other people from that place. That's how you become a really great leader, a really great partner, a really great parent, a really great friend, right? Be a person of service. And then the last thing is to leave the other person feeling better about themselves than when they arrived. You guys with me so far?
Yeah.
All right. So let's take some sharing. Fiscal. What do you understand when I say that the other person is the center of my universe? What does that mean?
So make them feel important, fully present to them, and be interested to them.
Got it. Thank you. Shirley, what does it mean to be interested versus interesting?
Yeah. One thing that I got is like being what is that? Being like be a friend that we can talk to like comfortably. And from what you said about the Eric Worre story is like you just need to listen to them to be interest to be interested, yeah, to be what is that, to be what should I say, wait, to be someone that interesting for other people.
Yes, exactly.
Being, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great, and and you got it exactly right. So if you want other people to find you interesting, all you have to do is be interested in them.
Yeah.
And so here's the opposite. I don't think I explained this well. So much of the time, okay, we want to be the center of attention. And the way that we do that is why we be what we think is interesting, right? So we do things that seem interesting and we're doing all these things as like a show. Right? And we think we're trying to be interesting. Okay? But that's actually not interesting for people. Because they can actually see most of the time that it's very self-absorbed, right?
Yeah.
So it's not all the show and it's not all about you. So that's the point. If you're trying to be interesting, it's not interesting for people. But if you're interested in them, now they're interested in you.
But Nathan, maybe can I ask few questions? No, like one question.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, what I've experienced before is sometimes I'm not faking all the feelings, but sometimes my previous activities um affect my feeling, affect my mood, and sometimes yeah, when I arrange the call with the other people, sometimes I can't be like can't be a good listener for her or for him. So what do you think that I should do, like to like be more genuine, to be because my feelings and my mood is not in that time.
Hmm.
So what should I do?
Yeah, it's a great
Sometimes
question. It's a great question.
yeah.
So anytime you're not in the mood or you don't feel like it,
Mm-hmm.
where is the focus?
Mm, the focus with what I thought or what?
Yeah, anytime you don't feel like it, you're grumpy, you've had a bad day or whatever, all of your
Mm-hmm.
attention is actually on you.
Yeah.
In that moment, it's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not bad, right? That happens to all of us, But if you want to get out of that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
just start asking questions.
What kind of question?
We'll go over that, but just in general, just start asking about them. Because what will happen is at some point, right, if you get connected with what the other person is saying, you'll actually forget about yourself because you're so in the world of the other person. You'll forget about yourself. And then what happens is your energy will come back, your mood will change, right? So in that moment, when you just start asking questions, take the focus off of you for yourself and just put it on them, and the dynamic for you will change. When you get connected to the other person's humanity. Dan, would you like to share something?
Yeah, what I'd like to share is like maybe for you to think, Shirley, is at the moment when you get on a call, what is the outcome that you want?
Mm, the outcome that I want is like, yeah, actually, I just want to share people and can help people to what is that? To knowing our product actually, because our product is good. So I want to share with other people. Maybe it might be help if the products can fit with the others. That's why for the first call, yeah. Then I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay, great. Because that's probably true, but I would assert that potentially what you would like out of the call is for them to get excited and for them to want to be a customer, for them to join your business.
mm,
Right. And then our brain is analyzing, oh, what should I say? What questions should I ask? Like trying to say the right thing.
yeah.
Right. So I think Nathan is pointing to something different for the way what our outcome of the call is and what our intention of the call might be slightly different to what we're used to doing.
Well, even if you want to serve the other person by sharing with them about the product, right? Exactly what you said, Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
What we're suggesting is even that is a little bit too fast
Okay.
because you don't actually know what the other person is dealing with yet. There could be things going on in their life that you don't know about,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And if your intention is to share with them about the product because you think it can help them and all blah blah all that, right? They can feel that. Right? People can feel this person is trying to convince me to do something or to take something or to be a customer or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So don't hear that there's something wrong with that. What we're suggesting is if you slow down a little bit and you build the connection, you're much more likely to get what you want anyway. So the desire to actually serve someone by being able to help them with the products, you're going to get that in the end anyway. And actually, you're probably much more likely to get a customer by slowing down and building this connection first. Then you can relate everything that you have to offer later with what it is that with what you have, because you know what it is that they're dealing with. Because you might actually come into the conversation thinking that you know what the person is dealing with, and there might be something completely else going on in their life.
Yeah.
You know, I'll share with you, this is not related to USANA, right? But I have a cousin, and he's suing my grandmother. And I have been so angry at him. Like, so angry. To the point where I wanted to drive over to his house and, like, kick the door down and fight him. And, you know, the other day I finally just decided, okay, I'm gonna stop being angry with this person because I don't really know what's going on. Okay, so I called him and I said, look, I've just been really angry at you. You know, we grew up together our whole lives. Like, we used to go to the pool together. We used to, like, try to pick up girls together when we were, like, teenagers. Like, we used to do stuff all the time. And I went away. I haven't been around for a long time, so we haven't been really connected, right? And so this whole thing happened in my family. So I just called him and I just shared, look, this is how I'm feeling about what's going on. And I realized I'm making you wrong and I don't even know what's going on, you know? And I found out, like, he's got a daughter that has Down syndrome. His mom has Lewy body disease, which is like a mixture of Parkinson's and dementia. And he's got a lot of stuff. See, I just got touched by this. So he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. And I was, like, going into the conversation thinking I knew what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. And as soon as I got touched by his humanity and what he's dealing with, it totally changed the whole conversation. Now I'm over there with him in his world. So instead of me coming in with my agenda, telling him all the stuff that I think doesn't work about what he's doing, now it's like everything is switched.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So what I'm suggesting is, if you're able to really get in other people's worlds when you're having these conversations with them, everything changes. You know, people have grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, people that have COVID, people that have close to them have died. Like, there are things that are going on in people's life that they may not even be really aware of. But if you're having a conversation with them and these things open up, you build a connection that goes way beyond a product or helping that person, you know, with their immediate health. There's a whole world of things that are going on with people. And if you're able to access that world, it transforms everything. You know, most of the people that are on this call, we're like family. And that's not because we're business partners.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to keep moving on because in the interest of time, we got to move on. But they're really great questions, Shirley.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan.
Okay, so the coffee shop interview, these conversations is 100% about building authentic relationships. Okay, we've touched on this a lot of times, but it's important to keep realizing that, because you're going to keep coming into these conversations with an agenda and things that you want to get done. Okay, it's okay. We all do that. It's part of being human. Okay, but you got to keep pulling yourself back and training yourself to really have these conversations to get related. In the personal development world that we do, it's called creating a background of relatedness. And what they teach us is you can only have a possibility that's as big as the background of relatedness that you have with someone. The more relatedness that you have, the bigger the possibility, the bigger the opportunity that you can build with someone. Okay? So You do that by showing the other person that you care. Build trust, build connection. Really hear them, listen to them so that you are feeling what they're sharing with you. It's what it means to be inside someone's world. You're getting their feeling, you're getting their commitment. You're really getting the emotion and the experience behind the words that they're saying. Sometimes some of you may have heard of empathy, right? Empathy is this idea that you can actually share a human experience with another person. Sympathy is like I can understand what you're going through. Empathy is I feel you. And when you get to that place, when you have a shared human experience, when you have a shared mutual feeling, that is a bond that can't be broken. There's nothing more core to our humanity than we have when we have a shared experience with someone. So like we were saying earlier, right? Pay attention when someone's talking. Be with them. Make that eye contact so that they know that you're right there with them in that moment. Plato, right, one of the first philosophers in the Western tradition, he said that the eyes are the window to the soul. Meaning you can access someone's soul through their eyes, being with them. Okay, and you create a safe space, okay, a safe space where the other person feels comfortable by sharing vulnerability. You know, just as an example, like me sharing my story about my cousin, right? I got touched. So that's something that, like, for you guys, right, if you can get in my world and have that experience and feel the love that I have for my cousin and how crazy it was that I got blinded by my own ego, right, then you guys can feel a connection to me. You know what's going on in my life. It makes me human. It builds that connection. And you do that by being vulnerable. Okay, so just asking the deep questions isn't enough. Okay, you have to give the person permission to be honest with you, to give you the real version, right? Sometimes you'll ask somebody a question and they'll give you the surface level answer that they give to everybody. How's your day? Oh, I'm doing good. It's all right, doing well. But you know that's just BS, right? That's just words that they're saying. So finding out what's really going on. You can actually say to this, once you're really open and honest with somebody, you can say, look, you can be 100% honest with me. You can even say, you know, what's the real answer? You know, what's the non-sugar-coated version? And if you invite people to share openly and honestly, they will. People will be willing to tell you things that you can't even imagine if they feel comfortable with you. Okay, so we said this earlier, but creating a safe space is you do that by telling one on yourself, right? Meaning share something vulnerable for you. And as the person begins to open up, right? This says gently affirm them. It means when you're being with them, just be with whatever they're saying, right? Make them feel like they can say anything. No judgment in your face. No, like, you know, no hint that you're judging them, right? Just be open to just be with whatever they're saying. Hold on, I just need to get rid of this thing. Okay. So this says telling one on yourself can lower your guard to share, lowering your guard to share something vulnerable, but that something that that casts you in a slightly embarrassing light. but be mindful of making someone uncomfortable. Okay, you don't want to say something that's like that's so outrageous that the other person will, potentially be offended, or it will make them feel uncomfortable. Okay, so there are limits to this. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to keep going. So I'll just go over these basic ideas, okay? So when we say, a lot of times people say, what's the script, okay? The good news and the bad news is that there is no script, okay? This is a conversation. When you're following a script, you're in your head. Okay, when you're following your heart, there is no script. And the way that you really get really great at these conversations. Now you can have a set of questions that you use, that you go into conversations with people, that are conversation starters. Like for Shirley, she said her friend, maybe her friend doesn't really take care of her health a lot. If you can get them to open up, like, hey, just out of curiosity, what makes you feel like your health is not important? And maybe they share something that happened to them. Well, what if life didn't have to be that way? What if you could feel great in your body? Oh, I'd love that. Why would you love that? Like if you felt great about your body, when you looked in the mirror, you felt you loved what you saw, if you had lots of energy, like what would life be like for you? Okay, so one small question can open the door to keep digging deeper. Because what you'll find is there are emotions that people have that are always deeper, deeper, deeper. And at the bottom of everything, people just want to be loved. They want to be accepted. They want to feel like they're okay. And if you can get someone to that place where they can share that, you have a connection that is unbreakable. So the way that you keep going deeper with people is by hearing what they're saying, saying back to them or recreating what you're understanding about what they're saying, and then asking them another question based on what they've shared with you. So what I hear you saying, Shirley, is that maybe health is not one of your top priorities at the moment. Just if you don't mind me asking, are there any other people in your life who have had that relationship to health? And you might be able to find, someone in their family's got diabetes, heart disease, stroke. These health habits are often passed down through generations. So if you can get someone present to the impact that not having an attention on health has in their life, it can change things. Okay? Now, one of the best ways to do this, especially if you don't really know the person that well, go onto their social media, look in their LinkedIn, look in their Facebook, look in their Instagram. Find out, do they like traveling? What kind of foods do they like? What kind of exercise do they do? What do they do for work? Are they somebody that likes giving back to the community? Go actually explore their life a little bit before the call. Write down some questions that you have genuinely about the person's life and bring those into the conversation. If I'm meeting someone for the first time and I say, hey, listen, I see that your favorite book is X. That's amazing. I also like this type of genre. Like, what makes you like that? The person will be so blown away that, first of all, you took the time to look, and A, you have similar interests. Just something like that, you can build an immediate connection with someone. Just say, hey, but out of curiosity, I can see, I see that you love dogs. And it looks like maybe you have a couple of like German Shepherds. What are their names? One of people's favorite topics is to talk about their kids and to talk about their pets. You ask my wife Simmer about or Deep about their dog Brownie, and you just sit down and get out a bag of popcorn because they can talk forever about that. That makes people feel great. So go onto their social media, get into the world, find out what's important to them. Okay? Now, when you're having the conversation to serve, you have to really understand what's missing in someone's life. So this is what you'll uncover by asking questions, is that people will share with you the things that are not going as well as they want in their life. Okay? That's how you get really down close into the heart of the matter of what's going on in people's lives, asking these questions, finding out what's really not working. And these are the things that you can write down, because these are things that you can address later. And you want to get really specific about what they want and also the things that they don't want in their life. People will give you all these clues. Right? You'll find out that people want to travel here, they want to go there, the things that they want in their life. Or they'll tell you, my boss is a jerk, I don't like my job, all these different things. They'll share these things. These are the things that you want to just take note of in conversations and actually keep them in a particular place, whether it's a Google Drive or a Google document or whatever. You want to keep the notes that you take in these interviews with people, because this is how you'll develop the conversation over time. And here's how you know whether you're getting the conversation right. Okay? Do you know the person better than most people in their life? Do you know what their goals are? Do you know whether they're willing to work hard for those goals? What are the things that are missing in their life? Right? Do you know by the end of the conversation whether this is someone that you would want to work with? You might have a conversation with someone and realize that you just don't have you don't have visions that are aligned, or they have a lack of integrity that doesn't really resonate with you, something like that. And are you able to hear that the culture that we have in STI and the things that we have in USANA, they would be a good fit for that person or not? Now, these are the things that these are the things that you'll figure out by the information that you're learning. Okay, you're not gonna mention this in the interview, but keep in mind that this is what you're building towards, right? It can take a number of interactions with people in order to build the kind of trust and relationship with them that will have them really ready, not only to do business with you, but really partner with you. And that's what we mean by attraction and not promotion. And that's what we mean by sharing and not sales. Okay? The difference is the energy that you bring to the conversation. Most people think of sales as I'm trying to get you to do something. Sharing is we're opening up and we're creating a shared experience. And that's what's going to have the idea of attraction, right? The law of attraction is things come to you. Right? When you get really great at these conversations, people will want to work with you. They're going to be coming towards you. So at the end, when you say, hey, is this something, would you like to work together? They're like, yes, of course. You don't have to objection handle or, convince them to do anything, because you're drawing them in. You're building this relationship so that working together is a natural progression. All right, I realize it's 9:03, so we're a little bit of over time. So we can finish up here. For those of you, if you have to go, that's okay. And then we'll finish up here in 2 minutes. So this is something that's, we're touching on this again, right? But really meaningful personal details of people's lives is what allows you a roadmap to their heart, right? It does give you power and influence over people when you have connection, right? You just think in your own life. Think about the people that anything they ask you to do, you'll do it, right? Because you have that kind of bond. Okay, that's why these principles in the coffee shop interview are so important, because you don't want to be doing this in order to get people to do stuff for you. Okay, you got to use these skills. The power of connection and persuasion is also the power of influence. Influence is leadership. Okay, so you have the ability, you will have the ability to persuade and influence and lead people. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're using that to do something important or serve the other person, not have them do something that is in your best interest, but not theirs. Okay, that's just something to really keep in mind. You can see other leaders and other people in life. You can tell the people that are, they're the king, where they're getting other people to serve them and do stuff and they're delegating, versus the servant leader who is using their influence in order to help people make decisions that will impact their lives for the better. Okay, with great power comes great responsibility. That's a quote by Winston Churchill. Okay, so we'll close on this. So the idea is this, right? So you want to set up your next interaction from the discovery call or the coffee shop interview, so that you can go back to the person 2 days later and say, hey, Shirley, I really loved talking to you the other day. When we were talking, you mentioned that your mom was, dealing with COVID. Or, that I remember you saying that you don't really love the job that you have. You wish you had more time freedom that you could spend with your family. I think I might have something that could be interesting for you. Boom. Now you've drawn them in and you've set up the next interaction. Okay, these are the things that open up when you're able to build these relationships. Okay, when you listen and you build trust. Okay, so close out the conversations. Don't invalidate all the really hard work that you've done by then switching totally and being pushy at the end. Okay, obviously make sure that you get all the contact information so that you can make a WhatsApp group or whatever that you need to do and be in communication. I can't tell you how many times I've made that mistake. I've met someone on LinkedIn, got into Zoom, had a great conversation, closed it out, and realized I didn't have their WhatsApp information. And then they don't really use LinkedIn all that much, and it's like, that's a real pain. So make sure that you're getting the contact information properly from the people, and then put it into your tracking system, whatever tracking system that you're using. Make sure it's got some notes there so that you can take notes of their kids' names, their dog name, where they like going on vacation, all that stuff. Put it in the notes so that when you get ready to have your next conversation with them, you can refer back and say, okay, yeah, I remember all these things about these people. Because trust me, whether you're there or not yet, in this business, when you're having as many conversations as we do, you will forget things about people, right? You'll be like, oh my God, was that this person or that person? Oh no, that was Steve, not Rick. You'll mix these things up. So you want to make sure that you have an existence, a system in place that you can remind you of who these people are. And always make sure that you share from a desire to help the other person, so that whatever you do offer is received as an authentic desire to help them. Okay, your best chance of succeeding in sharing a business opportunity honors your relationship with the other person no matter the outcome. Okay, that's why a lot of times when we do the discovery call, we let people know, look, this is the way that it's going to go. And regardless of what you decide, it's okay. The reason that why we're having this conversation is just to find out, more about you and see if there's something that you might be interested in or not. Right? Give them a back door and they'll be relaxed. All right, so when you're wrapping up the conversation, have meaningful, authentic conversations with everyone. Okay, you can start practicing this with all the people in your life. Start practicing this with your mom, with your cousins, with your brothers, right? It doesn't have to be a business thing. In fact, I'd prefer that it's not in the beginning, right? Go in your regular life and start practicing having these conversations with people. And you'll actually you'll discover that you actually don't know very much about the people that you think are the closest to you. You may actually discover that you don't know these people at all. Your partner, your mom, there are things about your parents that they've never told you because you've never cared to ask. What was your what was your mom's first boyfriend's name? What did she do in high school? What are the things that she did for fun when she was a kid? All stuff like that. This will open up also opportunities. Okay, I promise you, being a professional networker, being someone who's a professional relationship builder, the more value that you give to people, the more connections that you have, all these opportunities will arise. Because when someone has a great interaction with you, all they're thinking in their mind is how can I also serve this person back? How can we create an opportunity to work together? Can I get them on my podcast? Can I get them to do this? Can I introduce them to this person? All of those things will open up. New opportunities will manifest that benefit you. All right. So I will put these questions in the group. Okay. These are some questions that you might want to use. Okay. These are questions that you ask people about their whether it's form, family, occupation, recreation, or message, mission, motivation. Okay. In the coffee shop interview, they call it FORD, FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Okay. Same concept. Okay, we'll put a screenshot in the WhatsApp group, and you can keep these with you. I actually printed mine out the other day, and just been practicing some of the conversations, some of the questions with people in conversation. All right, now we were going to do some breakout rooms and mock these conversations, but my request is that with the people that are in your team, start practicing this together. Just ask some of the people in your life, hey, can I practice a coffee shop interview with you? You know, it'll be a great opportunity for you to learn amazing information about people that you care about. Okay, so thank you guys so much for staying 12 minutes over time. I honor your time, and I really appreciate your time and attention. So is there anything, why don't we have a couple of people share one aha or takeaway that you got from the session today? Mr. Daniel.
I was actually just going to say happy birthday to Apple. We wished her happy birthday early, but she wasn't on the call, so I just wanted to quickly get that in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Happy
I tried
birthday,
to make
Apple.
it, but I'm struggling this
birthday,
morning. Went out to seafood broil dinner and karaoke last night, so it was fun.
That's good.
Amazing.
So Regina and I share the same birthday.
Yeah. I was sad I missed the karaoke.
Happy birthday.
We'll go another time because I was doing TDO with Paula and she loves karaoke too. So we got to organize a party and outing.
That sounds like a good Team One expansion event.
Yeah.
All right. Anything that anybody want to share? Key takeaways, ahas from the session today?
Oh, I'll share something.
Okay.
So the new acronym, or this is my first time hearing it, FORD. So the last one being dreams versus money. I thought that was really cool to have somebody talk about what their dreams and wishes are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we actually retranslated form a while back into either motivation or message or mission, because ultimately that is,
Right.
yeah, that's what you want to figure out is what is the impact that people want to have in their life? What's the contribution that they want to have in the world? What are the things that really matter to them?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Me. Happy birthday, by the way, Apple. Wish you all the
Thanks,
best.
Pascal.
By the way, it's been a while. This is true. I don't really listen and fully attention every training I attend, but this is training. It's really good, and also I realize I always feel good to make prospect interesting to me, and that's I realize, and this is really useful. And Saturday I will meet someone in person for Usana, and I think will help me a lot.
Great. And I love what you said, Fiscal, because you always know after you have a great conversation with someone if you feel good. You feel like that was an amazing conversation. That's that's a really great way to know whether you got really connected to the person is you feel good. Oh, that was nice. And I got it that you attend a lot of trainings on Zoom all the time and you're not present a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You're not alone, by the way. Got it. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else?
Yeah, maybe I want to share a bit, yeah. Just a bit. From last week, that you mentioned that, oh, and I'm with Daniel and CSL review it together. So yeah, we are aware that lots of my guests, I'm not what is that? Create connectivity and relatedness with them. So actually, we implemented this week, and it was so great, so much better, better response, better what is that? Better feelings also, and yeah, I think it's a good and great lesson that I got from you from previous week. And yeah, now I learned something new also that I can implement later. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah. You're welcome. And thank you for coming and being present and getting that for yourself. And I really acknowledge you, Shirley, for being open to learning new things and implementing them. And I'm glad that you can see, oh, it's making a difference. And you're implementing new things. So now, you implemented that last week and it made a difference, right? Now you can go in this week and implement this with Mr. Daniel as well. And it'll make a difference. So my one thing I will recommend is after you guys do your presentations, I think I mentioned this last week as well, but just have a little 5-minute chat after the presentation and you can ask Mr. Daniel, how did I do? Any feedback? What worked, what didn't work, what could I do more of, what could I do less of? Like, just keep working and getting feedback. And you have such amazing energy, Shirley. You're always enthusiastic. You're always acknowledging other people, so you have a real gift for human connection already, Shirley. So if you're able to really use that and practice these skills, yeah, you're going to be an amazing presenter, and I can see you having a significant positive impact on a lot of people.
Thank you so much, Coach, my Coach Nathan, and also Coach Daniel. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Apple, happy birthday again. Shall we sing Happy Birthday? Let me stop.
Oh.
Let me stop the recording.